In this video, we're going to take a look at the boss command inside of Autodesk Inventor. Now, the boss command is a nice tool that was created so that you wouldn't have to create all these extrusions and ribs and fillets and drafts to create very simple shapes that we really need on a pretty consistent basis when you deal with plastic design. So we're looking at how to create a boss that will generate enough shape for us to get a threaded feature as well as a head side feature to create mating parts that connect together. Here we have the boss IPT from our working files directory. And we have one sketch in here already, sketch 18. And that was essentially drawn and placed on this mating plane here between the two faces, because that's where things are going to come together for our design. I'll go up here and choose boss. And as you can see, it pre-selects all those center points that I have on these edges of this rectangle. That sketch is essentially just a construction line rectangle with 4 individual points using the point command on those ends. That's a little tricky. You have to know about the boss. You need those points there. That way it picks up these centers. So we can see it's building the boss into the bottom beige side, which is what we want here for this side of the boss. When we look at the command in the dialog box, we can see we have the option to make the head side, which is what we're doing now, or we can also do the thread side. So we're going to leave it on head. We're going to add in an additional small fillet here to the bottom. We'll say 0.5 millimeter. And that's going to add a little 0.5 millimeter radius to the bottom of the boss here. If you don't want to do that, you want to do that as a separate operation, that's fine too. Next, we're going to move on to the head tab. You can see that our values are actually somewhat already specified here. I put mine in for thickness divided by 2, and thickness divided by 3, where these values are going to make up the head side. And for my values here, I have 1.6, 4.5, and 5. What's nice about this dialog box is it actually remembers it from the last time you utilized it. If I expand my draft options, you can see they're set to 2.5 degrees. I'm going to leave it at that. And at the bottom here, you can see you can choose your fastening method. Did I want a counter bore or perhaps a countersink? You can make those adjustments and see the visual change that you have. On the last tab, we have the option to add stiffening ribs. Now in this case, I don't feel I need the stiffening ribs. Maybe I want those on the thread side rather than the head side. So I'm going to leave these alone for the head side and just choose OK. And there you can see the boss was created. Now again, that wouldn't be too terribly difficult to create on your own, but wow, it was just a whole lot easier and a whole lot faster by having a rectangle with 4 points and then specifying the geometry through a dialog. You'll notice that you have the boss created here on the left hand side. So let's do this again. This time I'm going to share that sketch. And just expand boss 3 and choose share sketch. Start the boss command again. Notice how it's trying to pick up on the bottom side still. Well, I don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the head side. And for solid, I'm going to choose the yellow solid instead. You can see how that flips over to the other side for me, because that is a separate solid body. I'm going to leave my fillet side alone here as well and move on to the thread tab. So on this one, I do want a hole and I do want full depth. If you uncheck hole, you can see what you get instead. So definitely a hole there. For my overall diameter, I want this to be 4.4. For this inner side here, I want it to be 1.3. I'm going to leave that at a 1 degree inner draft. And the outer draft, I'll leave at 2. Now on the ribs tab, I'm going to add stiffening ribs. Here I want 2 of them, and I want them to be thickness value. This is a parameter that I just chose from that arrow to the right. Wow, that is really large at 10. Let's make that 2. Bring that down. We'll leave this at 2. So how far it is down from the top. Leave that 0. This is currently at 10 degrees there. That's okay. For my fillet options, I'll go ahead and expand that. I can actually add a fillet at the same time to reduce the amount of time it takes me to do fillets later. So I add 0.5 to these fillets here for the stiffening ribs. When I look at how this is situated, maybe I want these to be turned a little bit more than what they are currently. So right now it's 0 degrees. I'm going to make a 90 degree turn on them. So you can see they turn. And if I add, let's say, a third rib, I'll just come in here and put a 3 on. You can see how quickly that updates your geometry. I'm pretty happy with 2 on that 90 degree turn though, so I'll stay with that and choose OK. And there's our mating side for the threaded feature. And I have them lined up to that hole there as well.